Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Deontay Wilder's handlers, they are set to make a counter offer that they believe will represent a fair deal for a blockbuster fight with Anthony Joshua. Earlier this week, details of the first major offer from the Joshua side to the Wilder camp were leaked to the media, and presumably from the Wilder side, which was allegedly unhappy with the reported £8.8 million flat fee that was being proposed. And that offer, when you do convert it into US dollars, it represents 12.5 million US dollars. The way that the story has been framed in the media is that the $12.5 million offer could be as low as 12.5% of what some estimate to be a pool of $100 million in fight revenue. I'll come to this $100 million figure later because Anthony Joshua's promoter, he does dispute this. But in terms of the way that it has been couched, Team Wilder, they've done an exceptional job to create a narrative that the Bronze Bomber, he's been lowballed by Joshua and Hearn. The media and social media, they are being used now to generate some pressure for the Wilder purse amount to be greater. And no doubt you've seen some of that sentiment echoed by some fans in comment sections on YouTube and elsewhere. But here's the rub, and this is what I pointed out the other day. Even if this fight generates the suggested $100 million US in revenue, the total purse would not be anywhere near that amount. It would be a portion of it. The net revenue, that's everything. That pays for the substantial cost to stage the event, and it pays for the broadcasters, who take their cut from every single pay-per-view buy. So the pot of profit, it would be significantly smaller than $100 million. And that's if you're assuming that the profit is $100 million, because it will be much less. So this notion that it's a 12.5% offer, it's patently just not true. That's a lie, because the profits would not be anywhere near $100 million. And if the pot available after all the bills are paid is even, say, $50 or $60 million, for example, the percentage split to Wilder would clearly be higher than 12.5%. And I reiterate all of this because there seems to be a narrative out there right now that Joshua's purse would seemingly be $87.5 million. And that's a ridiculous suggestion. And if you're one of those people that are suggesting that Joshua's looking to cash out trying to get an $87.5 million payday, give yourself an uppercut, because it's clearly not the case. You've been brainwashed from some ridiculous comments and channels that don't pay any attention to the facts or don't want to use them as part of the narrative. Joshua's payday is going to be 3 or 4 times less than $87.5 million. It'll probably be somewhere between 20 and 30 million US dollars. But what I see is a deliberate attempt to eviscerate the offer by mixing up the total revenue with the collective purse figure. It's been highly effective at muddying the waters. And what is clear is that a flat fee of $12.5 million, that original offer, it's far too low. It's not going to get a deal done. Regardless of what you think of it, if you think it's too high, too low, currently, the Wilder side is not going to accept that. So if you think he's getting too much already, getting offered too much, well, it doesn't really matter because it's not going to make a deal. If Anthony Joshua wants to make that fight, he's going to have to do a lot better to get Deontay Wilder to sign the contract. So before I get to Shelley Finkel's latest comments, and Shelley Finkel is of course Deontay Wilder's manager, this figure, $100 million, that's been bandied about, I honestly have no idea how accurate or otherwise that figure is. It's really hard to know, and because that depends on the interest. But even if there's extreme interest, is it going to get to $100 million? I don't know about that. So it's hard to really make a call on whether forecasts are accurate or not. I mean, for all I know, it could be substantially more, or it could be substantially less. But one who has attempted to downplay the figure is Eddie Hearn. So, reacting to this $100 million figure, on Twitter he said, cut it in half and it would still be too much. In another tweet he said, it's total madness and 40 million would be a conservative budget. And whether that's 40 million pounds or $40 million, that's unclear. But the overall takeout that I take from it is that Hearn believes the event won't generate anywhere near $100 million in revenue, let alone profit. But what I would say, if Hearn is determined to pursue a flat fee for Wilder, no doubt he will be as vague as possible about the financials, because he can be. So Anthony Joshua, he has also waded in on this $100 million figure, telling Sky Sports in an on-camera interview, if it's $100 million, a $100 million fight, and they're happy to take 60-40, actually give me 50, I'll take 50-50. Give me $50 million up front and I swear I'll take that fight tomorrow. But they're not making offers like that, but they are talking about it, so it's not real. As I said, we've offered them a lucrative deal. We're just waiting to hear if he's serious or not. But they like to jump on social media rather than emailing us back in a professional manner. And when he was asked if he had a message for Deontay Wilder, Joshua said, sign the contract, bad boy. And later he said Deontay Wilder and his camp, they're greedy. And he also questioned whether Wilder is trying to sell his belt. In response to that and a counter offer, Wilder's manager Shelley Finkel, he told Sky Sports, that's nice. Since he offered us a 12.5, he thinks that we are only worth 12.5%. I would offer him something that gives him both a guarantee and upside. We are working on how to structure it. And in respect of the size of the fight and in terms of revenue, Finkel says, we believe it's a minimum of 60 million. Probably closer to 100. But who knows? Even at 60 million, he offered 20% flat. But he wants 50% flat. Come on. If he wants the fight, either don't underprice Deontay and don't overprice yourself. What we're going after, if he doesn't take, I don't know where you go. But it will be interesting. When a manager or fighter, usually the manager, the fighter usually wants the fight. And I want to believe Joshua wants the fight. If you don't want a fight, you ask for so much that you don't get it. And you still say, I would have fought him. That's one side. Or if you don't want the fight, you offer the other side so little that they won't take it. I think the world will look at the counter offer and say, if he wants the fight, this should happen. And those were Shelley Finkel's statements to Sky Sport. And in respect of the current state of play, and of course Deontay Wilder, he's waded in on this all. He says, they are scared of me. It's been almost 2 years. There are a lot of things in my career in terms of calling the best out. I've been doing that from the beginning. I've always got the short end of the stick. When they look at me because they recognize a real person, a real fighter, I'm a real hitter, they recognize that. With that being said, in boxing nowadays, nobody wants to lose their O, because now it has transformed into this business type of thing. The more you stay undefeated, the more you look good, and people want to do things with you. When you have a loss, in the mindset now, people don't think there's a way coming back. But if you look at back in the past days of fights, you've seen some of the best have fought. Ali, one of the greatest, he lost. It's all about falling and getting back up. A lot of these guys, man, they are just jokes. Anthony Joshua is one of those guys. Hear it from my mouth. He is a joke. And Showtime's Steven Espinoza, he has offered to mediate if the respective sides can't reach a deal, saying, we've got a vested interest in both guys and feel attached to each. If we can help mediate, we will. We've offered that. We are a key element in negotiation. If we can grease the wheels in terms of getting the deal done attractively to everyone, then we will do our best. I have no doubt that this fight will happen. It could be the next fight, the second fight, or in the spring of 2019. I don't think we'll see out a drawn-out negotiation because I see two fighters anxious to stage a worldwide mega fight. Deontay will make the decisions that suit him best, as will Anthony. But we have a long history with Deontay, a close working and personal relationship. The same is true with AJ, except the history is not as long. They each know our heart is in the right place. Our interest in making this fight at the right time, under the right conditions. Okay, so I think I've given you quite a decent wrap of the current positions, all sides, what everyone is saying. Now the next move, it really has to be the counter offer from Team Wilder. It's got to be submitted. And in my view, it will be rejected because that's the nature of where we're at. Undoubtedly, the Joshua offer, it was seen as being far too low by Team Wilder, and Wilder's offer, it will be seen by Team Joshua as being far too high. Remember, we are just in the sort of negotiating phase right now. I don't think we could just expect one offer from either side was going to get it done. But I would expect the next thing after this counter offer from Deontay Wilder's camp, the next thing that we hear is probably going to be Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, commenting saying, well, the counter is just far too high, that it's ridiculous. That he will go on to say that Deontay Wilder clearly doesn't want the fight. And we've seen this before. The template for all this in the negotiations, that was in the Parker fight. But the negotiations, they will continue, and they'll continue working towards a deal. And we did see a template for the negotiations in the Parker negotiations. And no doubt, I mean, from what I've seen, Team Wilder, they do seem to want to mirror some of the Higgins tactics by agitating through the media and on social media. And remember, that did prove to be quite effective previously. So I do expect it to be used again. And depending how it all pans out, I will start to think about limiting how many videos that I do on these negotiations, because I only do 4 or 5 videos a week. And I, don't want to do 4 or 5 videos on this sort of topic every single week for weeks on end, because the channel's going to get pretty boring that way. I'd rather talk about a number of other things. It's fresh now, but it won't be very soon. It'll become quite samey. It'll feel like rinse and repeat. But hopefully this will get resolved and it won't be too protracted. Well, we can only hope. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.